Captain Lisa Morgan watched the Earth grow smaller through the large viewing window of the USNS Mercy. The massive white hospital ship hung in space near the moon, its hull gleaming under the distant sun. Red crosses marked its sides, clear signals of its peaceful mission across the stars. Lisa ran her hand through her short brown hair and took a deep breath. At 42, she had never imagined commanding a vessel on an interstellar humanitarian mission. But here she was, about to lead Earth's first major aid operation beyond the solar system. "Beautiful view, isn't it, Captain?" asked Dr. Pete Wilson, the ship's chief medical officer. He stood beside her, his kind face showing both excitement and worry. "It is," Lisa agreed. "Hard to believe it's been only 3 years since we learned we weren't alone." 3 years earlier, the Vargon Confederacy had discovered Earth. The alliance of 7 alien species had welcomed humans into the wider galaxy, with friendly messages and offers to share technology. For the most part, relations had been peaceful, with trade routes established and cultural exchanges begun. "Captain Morgan," called a voice from behind them. "All medical supplies are secured. The last of the medical team just arrived on the shuttle." Lisa turned to see Nurse Andy Baker, a tall man with a clipboard in his hands. She nodded her thanks. 300 of Earth's best doctors and nurses, Pete said proudly. Ready to help, fight this plague. The mission was simple but important. Travel to Keltar, a distant Vargon colony suffering from a deadly disease. The aliens had asked for Earth's help, impressed by human medical knowledge. It was a chance to show that humanity could be a valuable friend in the galactic community. Lisa walked to the bridge, her boots making soft sounds on the polished floor. The ship's corridors were wide and bright, designed to move many patients, quickly if needed. The Mercy was new, built with some alien technology that the Vargons had shared. It was Earth's pride, a symbol of humanity's wish to help others among the stars. On the bridge, screens showed the ship's systems and the space around them. Officers worked at stations, preparing for the long journey ahead. "Captain on the bridge," announced Security Chief Ben Foster, his voice firm but friendly. "At ease," Lisa said, moving to her chair in the center. "Status report?" Communications Officer Jack Nelson looked up from his station. The holographic controls glowed blue under his fingers. "All systems ready, Captain. The Vargon ambassador sent the coordinates for Keltar. We're cleared for departure." "Navigation?" "Course plotted and ready," replied Navigator Susan Green. "Journey will take approximately 48 hours at standard FTL speed." Lisa sat down and studied the main screen. It showed their planned route through space, avoiding known dangers and busy trade lanes. The path led to a star system near the edge of Vargon territory, where Keltar orbited a yellow sun much like Earth's own. "Any word from command?" she asked. "Yes, Captain," Jack answered. "Admiral Henderson sends his regards and says, 'Make us proud.'" Lisa smiled briefly. The old admiral had personally chosen her for this mission. As Earth's first deep space hospital ship commander, she carried the hopes of many. "Medical bay reports all equipment checked and operational," said Dr. Wilson, who had joined them on the bridge. "The vaccine production units are online. We're ready to analyze whatever we find and help the Vargons beat this plague." Lisa nodded and turned to her first officer. "Commander Sam Rivera, are we ready to depart?" The tall, serious officer checked his tablet. "Yes, Captain. All departments report ready." Lisa took one more look at the blue-green planet behind them. Earth looked so peaceful from here, its nations united in this mission of mercy. After centuries of fighting among themselves, humans were finally reaching out together to help others. "Send a message to Lunar Control. The USNS Mercy is departing on schedule." "Message sent and acknowledged," Jack confirmed. Lisa straightened in her chair. "Engage FTL drive. Let's show the galaxy what human compassion looks like." The great ship's engines hummed to life. Outside, space itself seemed to bend as the faster-than-light drive activated. In a flash of blue light, the Mercy disappeared from Earth orbit, racing toward distant stars. None of the 350 people aboard suspected they were heading into a trap. For 2 days, the ship traveled smoothly through FTL space. The medical team used the time to study all available information about Vargon biology and the reported plague. They held meetings, ran simulations, and prepared equipment. In the ship's largest conference room, Dr. Wilson led a final briefing. From what the Vargons have told us, this disease affects their respiratory system, he explained to the gathered medical staff. They breathe a similar mix of gases to us, so our equipment should work with only minor adjustments. What about treatment options? Asked Dr. Grace Allen, an expert in alien biology. We'll know more once we arrive and can examine patients, Pete replied. But our advanced gene therapy techniques have a good chance of working. Remember, the Vargons have medicine too, but this plague has resisted their treatments. Lisa stood at the back of the room, listening carefully. The mission's success would depend on these people. She felt proud of their dedication and skill. Later, in her private quarters, she recorded a message for her daughter back on Earth. Hi, Zoe. We're about halfway to Keltar now. Everything's going well. The ship is amazing. You'd love to see all the advanced tech. She paused, smiling. I miss you, but this mission is important. Helping the Vargons could open doors for humanity. Maybe someday you'll travel even further than I am now. Love you, honey. The ship's computer beeped, interrupting her recording. Captain, to the bridge, came Commander Rivera's voice over the intercom. When Lisa arrived, she found the bridge crew looking tense. We're approaching the coordinates, Captain, Susan reported. Preparing to exit FTL in 3 minutes. All departments prepare for arrival, Lisa ordered. Medical teams on standby. Let's make this smooth and professional. The countdown reached 0. The Mercy slowed and emerged into normal space in a flash of light. Lisa's eyes widened as she saw what waited for them. Instead of a planet suffering from disease, they faced a wall of warships. At least 20 Vargan battlecruisers hung in space before them, weapons clearly visible on their hulls. What is this? Lisa whispered. Scan the area. Where's Keltar? Captain, we're not at Keltar, Susan said, checking her instruments. According to stellar positioning, we're in Zeraxian space. That's neutral territory under Vargon protection. Before Lisa could respond, the communication system came to life. Human vessel, said a cold voice as an alien face appeared on screen. The Vargon had gray-blue skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. I am Admiral Kraz, Supreme Commander of the Confederacy Defense Force. You have violated sovereign Zeraxian territory. This act of aggression will not stand. Lisa stepped forward. Admiral, there must be a mistake. We're the hospital ship Mercy, responding to your request for medical aid. We followed the coordinates your ambassador provided. A likely story, Kraz replied. Our sensors detect weapons on your vessel. Those are not weapons, Lisa protested. We're an unarmed medical ship. The only equipment we carry is for healing. Prepare to be boarded, Kraz stated flatly. Resistance will be considered an act of war against the Vargon Confederacy. The transmission cut off. They're lying, Commander Rivera said quietly. We followed their coordinates exactly. Captain, Jack called urgently from his station. I'm detecting transport ships approaching. They'll reach us in minutes. Lisa's mind raced. This was not a mistake, this was deliberate. Send an emergency message to Earth, she ordered. Tell them. A blast rocked the ship, cutting off her words. The lights flickered. They've disabled our communications array, Jack reported, his voice tight with fear. Lisa looked at the frightened faces of her crew. They had come to provide healing, not to fight. They were doctors and nurses, not soldiers. All hands, she announced over the ship-wide system. This is the captain. We are being boarded under false pretenses. Do not resist. I repeat, do not resist. We are a peaceful mission and will maintain that stance. Minutes later, armed Vargon soldiers stormed the bridge. As Lisa was forced to her knees, she saw similar scenes playing out on security monitors throughout the ship. Her medical team, confused and scared, were being handcuffed and marched away. That evening, fabricated security footage showing armed humans resisting was broadcast across the galaxy. The Mercy's crew was imprisoned, and Earth was denounced as a warlike species that had violated galactic law. The first shots in an interstellar war had been fired, not by humans, but against them. Lieutenant Alan Carter moved silently through the dark corridors of the Vargon space station. His heart beat fast, but his hands stayed steady. 6 months had passed since the Mercy incident, and Earth had sent him deep into enemy territory to find the truth. Alan was 34, with dark hair cut short and eyes that missed nothing. Before joining Earth Defense Force Intelligence, he had been a computer expert. Now those skills might save humanity. He pressed himself against a wall as 2 Vargon guards walked past. Their blue-gray skin looked almost black in the dim light. Alan's special suit, based on Vargon technology that Earth had studied, bent light around him. Not perfect invisibility, but enough to hide in shadows. When the guards turned a corner, Alan continued to his target, the central data hub. Earth needed proof that the hospital ship had been set up. Without evidence, the galactic community still believed the Vargon lies about human aggression. "Central hub access in 20 meters, whispered the tiny computer in his ear. "Security cameras active." Alan checked his wrist device. It would send out a pulse to freeze the cameras for 30 seconds, just enough time to slip inside. With a deep breath, he pressed the button and sprinted forward. The door to the data center opened with the access code he had stolen 2 days earlier. Inside, banks of alien computers hummed with energy. Alan plugged a small device into the main console and began downloading files. "Warning," his earpiece said. "System detecting intrusion. Estimated time until security alert, 90 seconds. Alan worked faster. His fingers flew across the strange keyboard as he searched for anything related to the Mercy incident. Most files were encoded in Vargon language, but his translator could handle the basics. 60 seconds. He found something, a folder with restricted access. Breaking through the security, Alan discovered hundreds of files, plans for Earth, maps of human colonies. And there, a file named Operation False Flag. 30 seconds. Alan downloaded everything he could. Just as alarms began to sound, he unplugged his device and slipped out through a side entrance. Getting off the station would be the hard part now, but the small scout ship he had hidden nearby was his best chance. 3 hours later, safely in FTL travel toward the nearest human outpost, Alan finally looked at what he had stolen. As the files decrypted on his screen, his face grew pale. "My God," he whispered. It was all planned from the beginning. The evidence was clear. The Vargons had been stealing human technology since first contact. Notes from their scientists showed they were impressed and worried by how quickly humans solved problems that had stumped other species for centuries. But the most disturbing files were about Earth itself. The Vargons had discovered that the planet contained massive amounts of quantium, the rarest and most valuable element in known space. Essential for advanced FTL drives, quantium could make humans wealthy and powerful if they learned to mine it effectively. The Vargons couldn't allow that. Alan read the final document with growing horror. Operation False Flag had been planned months before the Mercy was even built. The fake plague, the false coordinates, the staged videos of aggressive humans, all designed to paint Earth as dangerous and justify a full invasion. "I need to get this home," Alan said to himself, setting course for the secret communication relay near the Centauri system. From there, he could send the data to Earth without the Vargons tracking the signal. Meanwhile, on Earth, Defense Secretary Olivia Wright sat in her underground office, reading reports of Vargon ships gathering near the edge of the solar system. At 58, with gray streaks in her dark hair, she had seen many crises, but nothing like this. The intercom on her desk buzzed. "Madam Secretary, the President has arrived for the briefing." Moments later, President Richard Bell entered the room, followed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The President looked tired. Since the Mercy crisis, he had aged visibly, the weight of Earth's danger clear on his face. "What's the latest?" he asked, sitting down at the head of the table. General Frank Sullivan, head of the Joint Chiefs, activated the large screen on the wall. Images of alien ships appeared. "Vargon fleet movements continue to increase," he reported. "Intelligence suggests they're preparing for a full-scale attack within weeks." "And our defenses?" the President asked. "Ready but outmatched," General, Sullivan admitted. At least that's what the Vargans believe. A small smile crossed the president's face. So Operation Phoenix remains our ace in the hole? Yes, sir, Olivia confirmed. The secret fleet is fully operational. The Vargans have no idea what we've built. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent message. Olivia read it quickly, her eyes widening. Mr. President, we just received a data packet through our secure channel. Lieutenant Carter has found something. She transferred the files to the main screen. For the next 20 minutes, the room was silent as they read through the evidence of the Vargan plot. They've been planning to attack us from the start, General Sullivan finally said. The hospital ship was just an excuse. And this Quantium, the president noted. That's what they really want. Olivia nodded. According to these surveys, Earth has the largest deposits in known space. The Vargans don't want a new player in galactic politics, especially one with control over such a valuable resource. President Bell stood up and walked to the window. Though they were underground, advanced, screens showed the view from above. Blue sky, white clouds, a peaceful day in Washington. How long would Earth remain peaceful? They think we're weak, he said quietly. They think because we've only been in space for 30 years we can't defend ourselves. He turned back to face the room. They don't understand humans very well, do they? No, sir, they don't, General Sullivan agreed. The president's face hardened with resolve. Implement Operation Phoenix. It's time to show the Vargans what happens when you corner humanity. Across the solar system, hidden shipyards sprang into action. On Mars, deep underground bases opened their massive doors. Near Jupiter's moons, camouflaged construction platforms revealed their secrets. Even far away on Titan, Saturn's largest moon, lights flickered on in facilities that officially didn't exist. Earth had been preparing for this possibility since first contact. While presenting a face of peaceful exploration to the galaxy, human leaders had quietly built a defensive fleet like nothing the Vargans could imagine. In her office, Olivia received confirmation signals from each location. All shipyards report ready, Mr. President. Fleet commanders await your orders. President Bell nodded. Tell them to prepare for defensive positions only. We won't strike first, but God help the Vargans when they come. On the fleet's command, ship, hidden in Jupiter's shadow, Admiral Diane Russell received the orders. She had commanded the first human vessel to reach Mars, years before alien contact. Now she would lead humanity's defense. Send word to all captains, she told her communications officer. Operation Phoenix is activated. This is not a drill. Across the solar system, 300 ships of various sizes powered up their systems. Designed with technology that Earth had developed in secret, combining human innovation with studied alien concepts, they represented humanity's best hope. The Vargans expected to face a handful of outdated defense cruisers. They had no idea that humans, always preparing for the worst while hoping for the best, had built a fleet worthy of their warrior ancestors. In the darkness of space, Earth's war fleet awakened, not for conquest, not for aggression, but to protect their home and bring back their people. The Vargans had kidnapped human doctors who had come to heal. Now they would face human warriors coming to rescue. Commander Maria Lewis stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, watching as her crew prepared for battle. At 38, with short blonde hair and determined eyes, she had never expected to lead a warship. Like most Earth officers, she had joined the Space Forces to explore, not to fight. But now everything had changed. All systems online, Commander, reported Lieutenant Commander Paul Hayes, her second in command. Tall and serious, Paul had been with her since the ship was built in the secret yards of Europa. Maria nodded and studied the tactical display floating in the air before her. It showed hundreds of blue dots, Earth ships, taking positions behind Jupiter. The gas giant's radiation belts would hide them from Vargan sensors until the right moment. Fleet deployment at 97%, Paul added. The last squadron from Mars will arrive in 30 minutes. The Defiant was not a large ship compared to Vargan vessels. None of the human ships were. But what they lacked in size, they made up for in speed and new technology. Hard to believe we built all this in secret, Maria said quietly. Paul nodded. 300 ships, right under their noses. When humans first met the Vargons 3 years ago, Earth leaders had been cautious. While most welcomed the aliens openly, a small group of military and scientific advisors had warned, "Be prepared." Humanity had spent centuries fighting itself. They understood threats better than most species. So while Earth publicly embraced peaceful space exploration, secretly it had built defenses. Scientists studied every piece of alien technology they could access. Engineers created new weapons and shields based on what they learned. And deep in the shadows of the solar system, a fleet took shape. "Commander, incoming message from fleet." "Command," called out Communications Officer Ryan Cooper, his young face serious beneath his headset. "Put it through," Maria ordered. The main screen lit up to show Admiral Diane Russell. Her gray hair was pulled back tightly, her uniform perfect. "Commander Lewis, status report." "Defiant battle group ready, Admiral. All 10 ships at full combat." "Readiness." The Admiral nodded. "Good. As you know, we have confirmed reports that the Vargon invasion fleet has entered the solar system. They expect to find Earth protected by only a few outdated defense ships. That misconception is our greatest advantage." "What are our orders, Admiral?" Maria asked. "Defensive positions only, Commander. When the Vargons pass Jupiter's orbit, we will reveal ourselves and demand the return of our people. If they refuse or attack," the Admiral's face hardened, "we will show them that humanity is not to be underestimated." After the transmission ended, Maria turned to her crew. 20 men and women watched her, waiting for her words. Unlike the large crews on Vargon ships, human vessels operated with smaller, highly trained teams supported by advanced computers. "The Vargons believe they are hunting sheep," she told them. "They're about to discover they've cornered wolves. Each of you was chosen for this ship because you're the best at what you do. Today we fight not for glory or territory, but for our fellow humans who were taken while on a mission of mercy." She looked at each face in turn. "The enemy has superior numbers and larger ships, but we have better technology, more flexible tactics, and one thing the Vargons can never match: the human spirit that has helped us survive on Earth for thousands of years." Around her, backs straightened and faces set with determination. "Battle. Stations," she ordered. "Let's bring our people home." Across the fleet, similar scenes played out as commanders prepared their crews. The human ships had been designed with one idea in mind: asymmetric warfare. The Vargons, like most established space powers, relied on overwhelming force and standard tactics. Their ships were large, powerful, and slow to change direction. Human vessels, by contrast, were smaller, faster, and incorporated technologies that Vargon engineers had dismissed as impractical. Most importantly, human captains were trained to think creatively and adapt quickly, skills honed through centuries of warfare on Earth. On the Defiance bridge, Tactical Officer Emma Carter checked her weapons systems. "All weapons green, Commander. Quantum phase torpedoes loaded and ready." These torpedoes were humanity's secret weapon. Based on stolen glimpses of advanced Vargon physics research, human scientists had created weapons that could partially shift into another dimension, bypassing conventional shields. "Sensor Officer, what's the enemy's position?" Maria asked. Lieutenant Daniel Reed studied his screens. "Vargon fleet passing Mars orbit now, Commander. 87 ships detected, including 5 heavy dreadnoughts. They're moving in standard formation, just as intelligence predicted." Maria smiled slightly. The Vargons were so confident in their superiority that they hadn't even bothered to change their usual approach patterns. "Communications, are we still picking up their transmissions?" Ryan nodded. "Yes, Commander, they're not even using encryption. They're discussing how quickly Earth will surrender once they show their fleet." "They're in for a surprise," Paul said. Maria's tablet beeped with a new message. She read it quickly, then addressed her crew. "I've just received an update from intelligence. The hospital ship's crew is being held at a detention facility on Vargon Prime. While we engage the invasion fleet here, a special forces team will attempt to rescue them." This news brought determined nods from the crew. The fate of the medical team had weighed heavily on everyone's minds. Commander, Daniel called out. The Vargon fleet has changed course. They're heading toward Earth directly instead of making a stop at the moon as expected. At current speed, they'll be in attack range in 2 hours. Maria frowned. They're eager. Send word to the Admiral. Minutes later, Admiral Russell's orders came through to all ships. Operation Phoenix is now active. All vessels move to intercept positions. Remember, we offer peace first, but prepare for war. As the Defiant powered up its engines, Maria felt the slight vibration through her boots. The ship hummed with energy, ready for what was to come. Helm, take us out, she ordered. Standard formation with the battle group. Around Jupiter, the human fleet began to move. Ships of various classes, fast attack vessels, mid-range cruisers, support craft, emerged from hiding. They formed up in groups, each designed to counter specific Vargon ship types. In her quarters aboard the Vargon flagship, Captain Lisa Morgan sat on the edge of her bed. For 6 months, she had been a prisoner, along with her entire crew. The HFY aliens had separated them, using them as hostages to ensure good behavior. Through her small window, she could see stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, unaware of the danger heading its way. Or so she thought. A soft beep came from under her pillow. Confused, Lisa reached down and found a small device that hadn't been there before. It lit up with a message in English. Stand ready. Rescue coming. Earth knows the truth. Lisa's heart began to beat faster. How had this message gotten here? Who had placed this device in her room? For the first time in months, she felt something she had almost forgotten: hope. Back on the Defiant, Maria received a final communication from Earth. President Bell's face appeared on screen, looking solemn but determined. Commander Lewis, all of Earth stands with you today. You carry not just our weapons but our hopes. The Vargons believe we are primitive, that we will fold under pressure. Show them what humans do when cornered. We fight back. Bring our people home, Commander. We will, Mr. President, Maria promised. As the transmission ended, Paul reported, Vargon fleet detected on long-range sensors. They'll spot us in approximately 5 minutes. Maria took a deep breath and opened a channel to her battle group. All ships, this is Commander Lewis. Our mission is clear: defend Earth, protect our colonies, and recover our people. The enemy has mistaken our peaceful intentions for weakness. Today, they learned their mistake. The human fleet accelerated, moving out from behind Jupiter in perfect formation. As the Vargon invasion force entered the solar system's inner regions, humanity's hidden armada powered up their weapons and prepared for the battle that would decide Earth's future among the stars. Admiral Kraz of the Vargon Confederacy stood tall on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Glory. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he watched the main screen. The mighty Vargon invasion fleet moved steadily toward Earth, its 87 warships arranged in perfect formation. Primitive humans, he said to his second-in-command. They don't even know we're coming. Commander Vex nodded, his gray-blue skin shining under the bridge lights. Our scouts report only 5 defense ships in Earth orbit, Admiral. This will be over quickly. Kraz smiled, showing sharp teeth. For a species that claimed to be peaceful, the Vargons took great pride in their military might. 7 alien races united under their banner, and soon humans would join them. Not as equals, but as a subject species whose resources would fuel Vargon expansion. Send word to all ships, Kraz ordered. Prepare for... An alarm cut him off. The tactical officer's voice rose in surprise. Admiral, sensors detecting multiple ships emerging from behind Jupiter. What? Kraz moved quickly to the sensor station. How many? The officer's hands shook slightly. Hundreds, sir. 300 at least. They're human vessels. Impossible. Kraz slammed his fist on the console. Humans don't have that kind of fleet. But the evidence was clear on the screen. Where there should have been empty space, hundreds of ships now appeared, moving in coordinated groups toward the Vargon fleet. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the human vessels, reported the communications officer. Put it through, Kraz growled. A human woman appeared on screen. She wore a simple, dark uniform with minimal decoration. "This is Commander Maria Lewis of the Earth Defense Force. Vargan Fleet, you have entered Earth space without permission. We know about your deception. We know you tricked our hospital ship and imprisoned our people. Turn back now and release all human prisoners. Or face the consequences." Kraz laughed, though inside he felt uneasy. How had the humans built so many ships without Vargan intelligence knowing? "Commander Lewis, this is Admiral Kraz. Your pathetic threats mean nothing. Your ships may be numerous, but they are small and weak compared to Vargan might. Surrender now, and perhaps we will be merciful to your planet." Maria's face showed no fear. "You have 1 hour to consider your options, Admiral. After that, we will take action to defend our home." The transmission ended. Kraz turned to his officers. "Battle stations. Form attack pattern Delta. These humans are bluffing. Their ships can't possibly match our technology." As the Vargan fleet rearranged into fighting formation, Kraz felt confident. After all, humans had only been in space for 3 decades. How dangerous could they be? He was about to find out. 1 hour later, when the Vargans refused to retreat, the battle began. The human fleet split into smaller groups, each targeting specific Vargan vessels. Instead of meeting the aliens head-on as Kraz expected, the Earth, ships darted in and out at high speed, striking from unexpected angles. "What are they doing?" Kraz demanded as a group of small human ships zipped past his flagship, too fast for the gunners to target. "Why aren't they fighting properly?" "Sir," called the weapons officer in alarm. "The destroyer Righteous Fury reports shield failures. Somehow the human weapons are passing through their defenses." On his screen, Kraz watched in horror as a human torpedo seemed to flicker out of existence just before hitting a Vargan ship, then reappeared inside the shield. The explosion tore through the vessel's hull, sending debris spinning into space. "Impossible," he muttered. "They're using phase shift technology, but our scientists said that was just theoretical." Another alarm sounded. Multiple human vessels, performing short-range FTL jumps inside our formation. This was something the Vargans had never seen before. The human ships made tiny faster-than-light jumps, appearing inside the Vargan fleet formation, launching attacks at point-blank range, then jumping away before they could be targeted. "They're inside our defensive perimeter," shouted Commander Vex. "How are they calculating safe jumps so quickly?" Throughout the battle, Commander Maria Lewis directed the Defiant and her battle group with calm precision. On her tactical display, she watched as the human fleet executed the strategies they had practiced for months. "Echo Group reports successful hits on the Vargan command ship," Paul informed her. "Their shields are at 40%. Maria nodded. "Tell them to back off and let Delta Group take over. We need to keep rotating our attack patterns so they can't adapt." So, human fleet fought like nothing the Vargans had ever encountered. Where Vargan tactics relied on overwhelming firepower and rigid formations, the humans were fluid, unpredictable, and innovative. They used Jupiter's gravity to slingshot their smaller ships at incredible speeds. They coordinated complex maneuvers that seemed chaotic, but were precisely planned. And their weapons, the quantum-phase torpedoes, bypassed shields that had protected Vargan ships for centuries. 2 hours into the battle, Admiral Kraz stared at his tactical display in disbelief. 23 Vargan ships had been disabled or destroyed. The mighty invasion fleet was in disarray, their rigid command structure crumbling under the pressure of human adaptability. "Admiral," his communications officer said hesitantly, "we're receiving another transmission from the human commander." Maria's face appeared once more on screen. "Admiral Kraz, you've seen what we can do. Your invasion has failed. We are prepared to accept your surrender." Kraz's face darkened with rage. "Humans do not dictate terms to the Vargan Confederacy." "Perhaps you misunderstand," Maria replied calmly. "While we've been occupying your fleet here, 3 human strike groups have positioned themselves around your homeworld, your key mining colonies, and your seat of government. Check your long-range sensors if you don't believe me." Kraz signaled frantically to his sensor officer, who worked quickly at his station. After a moment, the officer looked up, his face pale. "It's true, Admiral. We're detecting human fleet signatures near Vargon Prime and our other key worlds. What Kraz didn't know was that this was a clever bluff, supported by Earth's electronic warfare systems that created phantom fleet signatures on Vargon detection systems. The humans didn't have enough ships to surround Vargon territories, but the Vargons had no way to know that. Meanwhile, far from the main battle, Captain Greg Mason led a small team of human special forces toward the detention center on Vargon Prime. Trained for stealth operations, they used technology reverse-engineered from Vargon scout ships to avoid detection. The 6-person team moved silently through the corridors of the alien facility. Unlike the main fleet, their mission wasn't to fight, but to rescue. Life signs. Ahead, whispered Lieutenant Sarah Patel, checking her scanner. 300 humans, just as intelligence reported. Greg nodded. The entire medical crew of the Mercy was here, imprisoned for 6 months while Earth prepared its response. Security systems disabled, reported Sergeant Joe Campbell. We have 10 minutes before they reset. Greg moved to the first cell and cut through the energy barrier with a specialized tool. Inside, a man in a tattered uniform looked up in surprise. Dr. Kevin Woods? Greg asked. The ship's chief medical officer stood up slowly, disbelief on his face. Who are you? How did you get here? Captain Greg Mason, Earth Special Forces. Greg handed him a small weapon. We're getting all 300 of you out. Earth didn't take kindly to having its doctors kidnapped. As the Special Forces team moved through the detention center, freeing the medical crew, Greg's communications officer received an important update. Captain, the main fleet has engaged the Vargons in the solar system. Commander Lewis reports they've got the enemy on the run. Greg smiled. Perfect timing. Let's get our people to the extraction point. The transport ships are waiting in orbit. 12 hours later, on the neutral space station Harmony, representatives from Earth and the Vargon Confederacy met to negotiate terms. The humans did not demand territory or resources, only the immediate release of their medical personnel, reparations for the unprovoked attack, and recognition of Earth's sovereignty. Admiral Kraz, now stripped of much of his authority, sat across from Earth's delegation, his once proud posture now hesitant and wary. The Confederacy agrees to your terms, he said stiffly. But know this defeat will not be forgotten. Earth's chief negotiator, Ambassador Helen Ward, smiled thinly. Neither will your treachery, Admiral. Remember that the next time you think humans are easy targets. As Dr. Samantha Ross, the last of the Mercy's crew to be released from captivity, boarded the shuttle back to Earth, she turned to President Bell, who had come personally to oversee the exchange. Was it worth it? She asked quietly. All this because we tried to help? The president watched as the Vargon delegation departed, their once proud bearing now subdued. The galaxy now knows 2 critical things about humanity, he replied. We will extend our hand in peace to anyone who needs it, and if that hand is bitten, we have another one that forms a fist. The hospital ship that had sparked a war now sailed back to Earth under escort from the fleet that had ended it. A fleet that the galaxy now knew existed, and one that ensured humanity's voice would be heard among the stars. 3 weeks later, as the Mercy was being repaired in Earth orbit, Captain Lisa Morgan stood again at the viewing window, looking out at the stars. This time she was not alone. Commander Maria Lewis stood beside her,